And so after that comes like a series of like, what do they call it? It's like one of those like self assessments. So like after I finish applying, it's like, but wait, you have one more thing to do. And that one more thing is to answer like 75 questions in one setting. So they ask you all these questions like, and these questions are definitely aligned to make sure that you're the best fit to become a flight attendant because remember, as a flight attendant, you're going to be all around the world and you're going to meet so many different people. So they want to make sure that you're able to be more of like a palm tree.
Hmm.
Sometimes there's delays that'll happen, sometimes there's cancellations, and you're at the airport. So you have to make sure that they have to make sure that you actually fit the job description.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's okay. We get
And I was like, yes, Lord, come on with the cancellations.
Ooh, we going in it. Now just kidding.
it.
You know, I don't know if you know this, but I'm black. Am I good?
He's with the best of them, and he's one of my favorite men to come outside.
that entrance sounds like much more than who I actually am.
My guest of honor is a classic beauty that has graced many runways. She received her Bachelor's of Liberal Arts degree in Communications with a focus in public relations and a minor in business administration from UT Arlington. She previously worked in luxury cosmetics for 7 years while attending school and interning. Now she has transitioned into a career as a cabin crew member with American Airlines. She completed over 3,600 flight hours, including domestic and international travel, within 3.5 years. Some of her accomplishments include being invited to participate in the company's special assignments as a flight attendant ambassador for the Universal Music Group's 2018 60th Annual Grammy Awards after party in New York, Budapest Experiential in Hungary, and LVMH Travel Summit in 2019. Let's just say her passport is stamped. And today, my guest of honor is Chloe Walker. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, blessed. So
Good,
I'm very
good.
happy to make it to 2021.
Oh, I know, right? Let's hope we can make it through this year too.
We will. Look, we gonna make it. I feel
Yeah,
like it's gonna turn over soon. So,
right. That's right. We got this.
hmm so tell me real quick, how has quarantining been for you? Because I mean, it's a
Yeah.
whole thing for you.
Yeah. So, I live in New York City in Brooklyn, and the quarantine life here is like probably so different than any other state. New York City was hit the hardest with the coronavirus. And so around April and May is when my base in New York City, they decided to not have their flight attendants or pilots to work out of the city. So that way we can quarantine. And so I'm not working for 2 months. I'm at home. I'm watching the news daily with Governor Cuomo. And, he goes over the numbers and it's so crazy just to know how many people who are losing their lives to coronavirus, to COVID 19.
Yeah.
I mean, every day the numbers are getting higher and higher and higher. And I'm just like, oh my God, like this is just getting out of control.
Hmm.
And, I see the governor trying to, help those who in need, help the city, help with PPE. And then also being in the airline industry, the only PPE we have are like gloves. We do have some other medical PPE, but we can only use that medical PPE if there's a medical situation on board. And
Hmm.
we're giving the okay to do that by an actual physician on call. So our only PPE we can really use is just the gloves we have that we will use for picking up garbage, and then of course we'll have our mask on and stuff like that. But the airline really didn't really get their PPE or more of like sanitizing things until maybe a little bit like in midsummer, you know.
Wow.
And I can understand. I mean, everyone in the US is like fighting for PPE. These nurses and doctors, they need it more. Our
Yeah.
PPE may be a little bit different from theirs, but we got ours at the probably appropriate time we could possibly get it. But quarantine life here is just more of like relaxing, trying to, focus on myself. I know a lot of us have probably gained the COVID-15 or the COVID-19.
Or 30 or 40.
Right. So, and hey, you gotta like get through it. And so eating was pretty cool, just sitting around eating a lot. But I also got to like, visit with my flight attendant friends because we're always on the go. And
hmm
so because we were able to really quarantine and stay home a lot, we were able to kind of visit each other. There was COVID tests involved,
hmm
but a lot of outdoor activities like the park, like Central Park, like Hudson Yards, like all those kind of great things that I have never done because I've been working and I'm always gone. I'm able to do it during quarantine. So
Yeah.
I feel like, quarantine, you, I find the blessings in it,
Yeah.
because, I'm like, yeah, I do understand that COVID is real. Things are hard. It's a difficult time for everyone, but how can we all get through this? You have to find that happiness that, you can bring back to yourself and get through difficult times.
Yeah.
So that was visiting with friends in a park and, just enjoying a lot of outdoor activity, rollerblading.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
glad you're looking at it like that because I mean it's all about perspective, period.
it
So
is. It
I'm
is.
happy that you're taking advantage of the time and actually like you just
Mhm.
using it to better yourself because a lot of people
Yeah.
are just sulking when they could be like
Yeah.
enhancing themselves right now. So
True.
that
That
makes
is
me happy
true.
to hear that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about how you came to the conclusion that you wanted to be a flight attendant and that process a
Mhm.
little bit.
So I've always wanted to be a flight attendant, um, particularly around like my mid 20s. I really thought about it more. I
Mhm.
actually had one of my best friends. She was a flight attendant for Delta Airlines at the time. And she, loved it. Even though she was based in Atlanta, she moved away from Fort Worth to Atlanta.
Mhm.
I still got to see her like all the time. So it's kind of like she never really left.
Mhm.
But just seeing like the smile she has every time when I see her because she just probably came from Paris or
Yeah.
whatever, And so I'm like, like maybe that's something I should like probably look into because I've always loved to travel,
Mhm.
but I wanted to do a little bit more. And so then, well, at the time I was still in school at UTA. And
Mhm.
so she was like, no, what you need to do is just go ahead and graduate first because you're almost there. You're a
Yeah.
senior. And I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. So then I'm like, okay, sure, why not? So then I graduated and then I started to really look more into it a little bit more after. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like there was like this. She was like an angel, my best friend, because she was just kind of like there to like say, all the good things about the job that comes with the job.
Mhm.
And to be living this experience is pretty cool. I mean, I can't believe I'm in New York City where I'm based, and doing something that I actually truly love. You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
That's amazing. Look, a lot of people don't even have the courage to leave their hometown. So tell me
No,
tell me a little bit about what that was like transitioning to a whole
yeah,
nother place and like
yeah,
making that decision to move.
yeah. So I've always wanted to live in New York City, like no doubt.
Mhm.
When I was a student at UTA, trying to get my degree in public relations, I knew that New York is the place for me in public relations.
Mhm.
And so that's the city that I sought out for. And I didn't go through that way of, I didn't go through the way of moving to New York City with PR. I did it with another career.
Mhm.
But the whole moving aspect was kind of scary because, I've been in Fort Worth like since I was born and it's like home.
Mhm.
And, this career has definitely pushed me to step out of my comfort zone and to actually take that leap of faith and move to a big city where, there's so many people here. It's
Mhm.
the hustle and bustle. It's never quiet. Back at home in Fort Worth, you would probably hear a bird chirping out of your window. Here, you hear a siren. you know, so you have to like get used to the adjustment because it is a huge adjustment. But like you said earlier, like home is home. I go
Mm-hmm.
home to see my family here and there, and that's what really grounds me.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom is like, you can always come back home, and I'm like, I know, mom, but I live in New York, but
Yeah.
I will come and visit, but I'm not gonna just move back home because I do love it here. It's
Yeah.
it's totally different, but it can be a struggle to leave home because that's all you know.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's there, all your friends are there, and you're afraid that you may not make any friends in the new place you're going to move to. But time will tell. Everything will come about, and you'll make it.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I'm a firm believer in when you put yourself in like difficult positions, like you learn more
Hmm.
about yourself. So can you
Do.
tell me what you've learned about yourself from being able to make that transition?
Oh, well, one thing for sure is that I've grown so much. I felt like if I would have stayed in Fort Worth, I wouldn't grow.
Yeah.
Being here in New York City, where the hustle and bustle is here every day. Even though with quarantine, the quarantine life here in New York City, I still feel that like aura of like the hustle and bustle. Like you're always trying to look for the next best thing, and you're trying to, build yourself, build your character. And I don't know, I just feel like I've grown so much, and I like owe it to actually moving away from home. Some
Hmm.
people may not, know who they are until they actually get out of that comfort zone and move somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I applaud anyone who actually does that because I know it can be really hard. But the transitioning can be difficult, but you'll get there.
Yes, absolutely. What advice would you give someone whose parents have coddled them and like kind of
Yeah.
kept them sheltered a little bit? What advice would you give them
Hmm.
to even get to the headspace to make the move?
Yeah. I would say the best thing is always to like talk to your family about what you're looking forward to in the future.
Hmm.
If your parents were coddling you and just, putting their loving arms around you a lot, then they should be able to like listen and support your decision to actually move away.
Hmm.
And it will be tough for them to say, okay, I'm going to have to let you go, let you do your thing. I totally get it because my mom was one of those people. She was just kind of like, stay home, don't go anywhere. I love it. I love you here. And, she gave me a lot of support over the years, for sure. But I know it took her some time to like realize that, her baby girl is like, what I was like 29 at the time. Like she's grown, she
Yeah,
has to take the step forward to advance her career and her life.
absolutely.
So yeah, if you have like loving parents that'll just listen and they'll support you, they for sure will.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to show them,
Yeah, sometimes
like
you do.
you just got to be like, I love you, but I'm gonna
Hmm.
respectfully disagree,
Right,
and I
and be
gotta
like this,
go. Yes,
and I
I
gotta
gotta go.
go. But you can come visit. You can come visit,
Yeah.
but I gotta go.
Like, I'll send you a
Yeah.
ticket and everything. You gonna get on the flight or
Right.
no?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. There's always like that moment where you can come together and, revisit, things as far as like past times. Like, that stuff will never leave you at all. If you have your family, like family is everything.
They are. I have to have mine. I mean, I love them to death.
Yeah.
So, well, love them to
Yeah.
life. Love them to life.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
so I wanted to ask you, with you being a flight attendant, what are
Hmm.
the top places that you love that you visited already? Like, what are your top five
Hmm.
like places that you've gone?
Top five. Okay. So this may sound crazy, but I really, 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 really love like Boston. Most people think of other places like, out of the states, in other countries as their top place on their list. But for me, it was Boston. I don't know why. Um,
It's so
I don't
different.
know. Yeah, it's almost kind of like, well, to me, it's like a nice city, um, but definitely not far from New York, and it definitely kind of has that like big city flavor, but it's a small city, you know?
Yeah.
So like, I've always thought if I ever had to like move away from New York City, it would be somewhere in Boston because I feel
Okay.
like get that like city life. But it's a smaller city, so a little bit quieter. But yeah, so I like Boston, Um, as like, as a country, I do enjoy London for sure. It's definitely like New York. One thing about moving to New York that I really love is that you don't really need transportation.
Yeah.
So, we have the MTA, the subway. We also have buses, and so does London. You can get around pretty much in Europe by just like public transit.
Yeah.
And so, anyone who is definitely scared about moving to a city because you don't have a car, blah blah blah, pick the city that will offer you transportation easily.
Yeah.
So maybe New York, Chicago, even DC. If you want to move abroad, for sure, like London or Paris, like those kind of places, like you don't really need a car. You have
Hmm.
public transit. But so I like what Boston, London. I like Paris. Paris is nice. That like I don't know. It just feels like it's the place of love for some
Yeah.
reason. Love and fashion, like
Right.
love and high fashion. But I would say really those are my top three choices. Um, my fourth choice would for sure be Milan,
Hmm.
and then my fifth choice would be Spain. I like
Same.
Spain. Yeah, Spain is nice. They got some good food out there.
I was just about to say the food is
Mm.
probably amazing in Spain.
Oh yeah, for sure. The food, and the men.
Yep. Of course, because they're all chasing you like, hey,
Right,
super
right.
pursuing.
Yeah, right. Yep, yep.
That's so funny. Well, I'm glad that you've gotten to visit all those places, but you did just mention fashion, so I want to talk about that real
Hmm.
quick. I know
Yeah.
that you're a model. You've done a lot of work in that field as well. So can you tell us a little bit
Yes.
about that?
Yes. So I started modeling, well, like when I was 23, 24.
Mhm.
Well, 23, yeah, 24. Did it for about 7 to 8 years.
Mhm.
So how it happened was I was at the beauty shop with my mom getting my hair done, and one of my brother's childhood friends, she goes to the same hair salon, and her husband is a fashion designer, and so he needed someone to be in his fashion show. He needed more models, and
Mhm.
so my mom was like, "Chloe, do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Sure, why not? Like I've always wanted to."
Mhm.
So I went over to their house, did like a couple like viewings, if you want to call it that. Um, we sat down, we talked about what would come out of this, and I just knew that it would be so fun. And so the first time I was on a runway, like in Fort Worth at the Bath Hall, I was just like, "This is insane!" Like, I mean, it's a production. You
Yeah.
have a production. Like this isn't something like, like a church fashion show or anything. This is like a big production. And this designer, he is a big production. His name is Sean D. Florence, and he's in Fort Worth,
Wow.
Texas. So he brings the whole production. He has sound, stage, lights, music, entertainment, everything. And then his clothes for sure shine on the runway.
Yeah.
So, I've done a lot of modeling with him because I trusted him a lot more than some other people, honestly, because I feel that, his values kind of align up with mine. And so I wanted to definitely stay in the area where I trust someone
Mhm.
with modeling their clothes because, even though I was like 23, I didn't really want to wear something revealing. That's just not who I am.
Yeah.
And so he never said like, you're gonna wear this, It will always be like, hey, are you comfortable, doing this or doing that? But I would never put myself in a situation where I'm so uncomfortable. And I thank him for actually trusting me and giving me the support and all the advice and stuff like that to be a model. So modeling was really fun. I've done it. mainly in Dallas Fort Worth area.
Hmm.
I've always wanted to do it in New York City, of course, but unfortunately, my as far as like my life, it took me in a different road from going to New York City, which was totally fine because I had found a career in cosmetics, luxury cosmetics.
Yeah.
Who knew? Who knew? Like, I thought it would just be like, I'm going to go and be a supermodel in New York City, and turned out to be, no, I'm going to stay home, go to school,
Hmm.
and change my career and actually become like a makeup artist and stuff. So
See,
modeling definitely for sure transitioned me to do other things for sure.
God has a crazy way of working. Like
He
he'll just
does.
expose you to stuff, just like the things you
Hmm.
never even thought your mama was the plug for
Yeah.
that. And look what
Yeah.
happened.
And look what happened. And she always says, I'm your momager, right? I'm like, yeah, yeah, mom, you're my momager for sure, for
Your mom,
sure.
I love your mom. She's hilarious.
Oh, thank you. I love it too.
So tell us a little bit about why you love makeup in like that world as
Yeah,
well. Tell us about your time in makeup.
yeah. So my time in luxury cosmetics was really fun. You meet a lot of different people. I was pretty much working, of course, in retail.
Hmm.
So you meet a lot of different customers, and you have to listen for sure. As far as like in customer service, you have to listen. Every client is going to be different. Everyone is not going to be the same. Some people will like to look like Kim Kardashian, and some people will like a minimal makeup that looks
Uh,
very natural.
that would be me.
And same. This is all that I do right here, like
Yes,
nothing more. But
natural.
I totally get it. I totally get it. Something natural, but one thing I love about like cosmetics is just like it it actually kind of helps to boost you up a little bit sometimes, if you feel like you're down and you want to just have like a nice pick me up, you want to like put on a bright red lipstick to cheer you up, do it.
Hmm.
I feel like, makeup is something to enhance your beauty, not to really change your beauty. Everyone has their own natural beauty, so you have to find the cosmetic to align with that and to enhance your beauty. So that was my main focus or my mission as like a cosmetologist, like a makeup artist, just to find someone's natural beauty and for them to leave away thinking like, "Ah, I had a great experience." And sometimes it can be a way to help someone find who they really are. I've had some, women come in and they're like, I've never worn makeup, but I want to do it. And I said, okay, well, we can, try a little, like a little 5-step program where you gradually move yourself into makeup. Now, I'm not going to just throw someone into makeup. Gradually go, and then they say, yeah, you don't like that. No, I don't like that. I do like that more. And so that's one of my main missions was as far as like, being a makeup artist. It's just to find someone, it's just to really to help someone find who they really are. Cause sometimes, you don't really know who you are until you probably step out of the box and try a little makeup maybe. But um, I was just very grateful just to actually interact with people because that brings me so much joy.
Yeah, I can see that. I
Mm.
mean, you get to actually help people mold themselves and like really find their confidence because sometimes they
Hmm.
need that little boost. Sometimes
Yeah,
they need that.
sometimes they do.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they'll come into the store and they're upset because something happened at the job. They came on a lunch break just to grab a few items, but they're upset something happened on the job previously, and so they're just like, just make me feel beautiful so I can get rid of this like stress and anxiety. And I say, okay, cool, let's go. I'll do like a little touch up, touch up their mascara, touch up the blush, touch up the lipstick or lip gloss, that kind of stuff. So that way they go back to their office and they're like, what stress, what anxiety,
I'm still fly. No.
right. I'm still fine. Like, I got this.
Yes, ma'am. I want to ask you how you got to be in a space where you're self confident. Like, what was your process
Mm.
with becoming more self confident?
Oh, well, I will say, like, younger, like, my self esteem was not like the best. You know, um, I probably was around like middle school or maybe like freshman in high school. You see all these people in the magazines and you realize, like, of course you look different from them, but for sure they're probably Photoshop and airbrush and that kind of stuff. So like my self confidence and self esteem was like probably not the best. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like most people go through that in their preteen or teenage years. And so, one of my older brothers, Tori, he actually sat me down and he would just like had me look through this magazine of like models. He was just like, look at them. This is not real. I've seen what they look like in real life. Has he?
Exactly.
Who knows? He probably hasn't, but I'm his little sister. I'm his little sister. And he's just like, no, like you shouldn't have to think about that kind of stuff at your age, even though, it happens. But he was just like, no, he was like, no, your beauty, you are beautiful in your own way. And so I started to, of course, use the sticky notes or the post-it that everyone's call uses. And, I would start writing like self affirmations on there and just kind of like things that'll help like boost myself and my confidence. And so I would put those like sometimes in my textbook. Sometimes I would just put it in my backpack. Sometimes I'll just put it like in my room, on my closet doors when I open up every day, and I'm trying to get dressed. I see that the post-it note is there and it's just something to remind myself. But, I'm very thankful for my brother for sure. And, just using the resources that I had, like the post-it notes, it just really helped me to mold myself into who I am. I know it's hard, especially like these kids are growing up in these days in the social media era. So
Yeah.
everything on TikTok, everything on Facebook and Instagram is all filter this, filter that, and it's just, sometimes it can really hurt someone's self-esteem and confidence because they feel like they're not what they should look like. And
Right.
so boosting my self-confidence definitely took some time, but I feel like for me having my big brother to sit me down and say, you're fine, you're beautiful, like, and plus of course I'm still growing. I'm
Yeah.
not finished growing yet. Everyone doesn't, people don't realize, like, when you're a preteen or you're a teenager, you're not done yet growing. Like, you still have more growth to do,
Yeah.
so it's like, don't always, put yourself down as far as like what you look like and what you don't look like. Me being a dark skinned woman, chocolate girl,
Mm-hmm.
like it took some time for me to be like, okay, I like my skin, of course, um, with the whole Black Lives Matter movement here in New York City, there's like protests every day,
Mm-hmm.
and I was there. But if doing things like that, it also kind of helped me just like just feel more of like who I am and just be more comfortable with myself when I was just participating in those protests in New York City,
Yeah.
you know. So there was a struggle with self-esteem and self-confidence, but I feel like over the time of just um, finding out who I am and just reassuring that I am a good person, I am beautiful. Um, my skin color is accepted. It helped me to be who I am this day.
Yeah. I'm happy that your
Mhm.
brother did that for you because it's different hearing it from a man. Your
It
brother,
is.
it's completely
Yeah.
different because your mom is gonna say that. You know what
Oh,
I'm
exactly. Yeah,
saying?
exactly. Yeah, your mom was gonna definitely say it, but your brothers, like, hearing it from a male perspective, I was just kind of like, oh, wow, like, thank you.
Like, I guess I receive it. Okay.
Right, exactly, exactly. That's true.
That's so funny. Um, I will say this too, it's always good to surround yourself with good people. And I
Mhm.
mean, friendships and different relationships always can fill you up or sometimes subtract from you. So tell
Yeah,
me, what are your 5 non-negotiables when it comes to friendships and relationships?
yeah. So what I really look forward into is like a friendship or relationship is just someone who is not judgmental.
Mhm.
You know, you want to be able to come to someone and be able to talk to them about like an issue without them judging you from the get go.
Yeah.
And You want to make sure that they're able to listen and not try to like fix your mistakes right away. You want someone to be there to be have a shoulder for you to lean on.
Mhm.
So someone who is non-judgmental, and someone who is truthful and honest, because sometimes you're gonna need your friends to be like, "Girl, you should never done that," or like,
Yep.
like you should have never done that. Like, I would probably go about it in this way instead of what you did, but I do see where you're coming from, and I'm here to help you. So being non-judgmental, being an honest, truthful person, and then I would say someone who is there to see you grow,
Mhm.
because I think it's very important for you to have friends or just a relationship for sure where growth is actually invited, you know. So it's best if you're around someone who sees, the potential that you can be. So, say for instance, you want to become a doctor. Surround yourself with people who actually support you and who see that you can be a doctor and it is achievable.
Mhm.
It's I think we all learn, being around the wrong set of friends will definitely get you in the wrong place.
Oh yeah.
Coming from experience,
For real. For real.
So it's always best for you like surround yourself with people who will actually support you and not try to like tear down your goals, your future. Um, So I said what? Someone who's not judgmental, someone who is trustful and honest, and someone who will see you to grow. I also will look for someone to just just to be there, So someone who can just like listen to me whenever I just want to just spill my guts and not take away my floor, the floor that I have where I just want to like just spew it all out.
Mhm.
You want to make sure you're surrounded with people who actually like you for you.
Mhm.
So um, growing up in my teenage years or even my early 20s, I've been around people who just didn't like me for me. There was always peer pressure going on. And, as far as like peer pressure, you have to actually, you have to like physically and emotionally like put yourself in a situation to actually say, no, I'm uncomfortable doing this. And you tell them why and then you move on.
Mhm.
So, surrounding yourself with people who love you for yourself is what you need
Yeah.
in life. And for sure, it'll take you from where you are to like even further, if you have that love and support, someone who doesn't want to change you.
Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
we we all define our paths for ourselves, like success for
Hmm.
ourselves and happiness for ourselves. And I think it's important to be an individual and know who you
It
are
is.
so you
It
can stand
is.
up for what you believe in. So definitely.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
how would you define success and happiness?
So for me, success and happiness is, do what you love, So as far as me going to UTA trying to get my degree in PR, I did that because I thought that's what's going to bring me happiness. But
Mhm.
what truly brought me happiness is like being out of Fort Worth, Texas, traveling,
Yep.
that kind of stuff. And so, I found my happiness by just catching a flight, that brought me happiness, just being able to, at that time before I became a flight attendant, I was always able to go to like Atlanta to visit my friend who was working as a flight attendant for Delta,
Mhm.
or sometimes I'll just meet her in Miami for a weekend. So my true happiness just came from just traveling and just like putting myself in so many different cultures and just
Mhm.
embracing it and just being around different people, especially at work. Work is very diverse and I love it, especially some in New York City. It's a melting pot. So my coworkers come from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life. And, that just brings me happiness because I'm like, this is what the world is. This is what
Yeah.
it's supposed to be, and I feel so comfortable too. You want to make sure you're always comfortable with it that you desire.
Yeah. for sure.
Mhm.
But will you tell me or explain to the people how they can go about going into the flight attendant world? Like, what does that look
Mhm.
like? What is the mission and the
Yeah.
path for that?
So, the path to it can be kind of long, like a long journey, but it is achievable. Um, so what you'll do is you'll go to, well, what you should do is research. You should just research the company that aligns with your values. Look more into the background of the company. What do you like about this company versus the other company? And that should be at any job.
Hmm.
So you'll do your research. Once you find your company that you want to pursue, you go to their website, just log on and see if they have any openings for cabin crew members, and then just hit apply. And so after that comes like a series of like, what do they call it? It's like one of those like self assessments. So like after I finish applying, it's like, but wait, you have one more thing to do. And that one more thing is to answer like 75 questions in one setting. So, they ask you all these questions like, and these questions are definitely aligned to make sure that you're the best fit to become a flight attendant. Because remember, as a flight attendant, you're going to be all around the world and you're going to meet so many different people. So they want to make sure that you're able to be more of like a palm tree.
Hmm.
Sometimes there's delays that'll happen. Sometimes there's cancellations, and you're at the airport. So you have to make sure that they have to make sure that you actually fit the job description. And so you're going to be around so many different people who are diverse. The self-assessment, like questionnaire, then you'll probably hear back from them maybe in a few weeks, or maybe a month, maybe 2 months, maybe a year later, because they're so busy. There's over 300,000 people applying to be a flight attendant.
Wow.
Yes, yes. And I remember at my graduation, they were saying that it's so hard to become a flight attendant versus getting into like Stanford or Harvard. It's like,
Wow.
I know. And I was just like, are y'all sure? And then they're like, yeah. I'm like, are y'all
It
sure?
makes
Because
sense
I'm like,
though.
it does make sense because I'm just like, just looking at everything, I'm just like, wow, everything pretty much definitely does make sense. But so after that, you'll hear from them. They'll set you up for an interview, and the interview it comes in two phases. There is a group interview,
Mhm.
and then after that group interview, there will be a one-on-one. And then from there, I believe they'll tell you like, well, we'll be looking forward to moving you along the lines of training.
Okay.
And then once you go through booking your date for training, then that's where the real stuff happens because that's that's where you're like um, in class for sometimes like 13 hours
Ooh.
because they want to get you ready for the real world in the traveling. Yeah, they'll sometimes you will be in the classroom for like 13 hours, but you're not always in the lectures. They have other stuff. Trainers is what they call it. So they have these actual like aircraft aircraft that they build, so that way you can train in an aircraft, so you'll know what it's like to be really when you're 30,000 feet in the air. Yeah, so they have like the simulators in the training academy, and so it's built to mock an actual aircraft. And so what it's like, you'll know what it's like to be 30,000 feet and how things should go if there's a medical situation or be doing service for the flight. And so that process for training can take from anywhere to 6 weeks to 8 weeks, depending on your airline.
Yeah.
And some airlines do pay for training and some don't. And this is why you have to like do your research before you actually apply, because I didn't know this. I thought it was a given that they'll do a paid training, but it wasn't. there was another there's another airline who wanted me to fly out to I think it was like San Francisco, and I would have to find my own flight there and back. I would
Mm.
have to find my own place, my hotel to stay in. and I think they probably provided transportation. Not sure, but I knew that job was not for me.
Right.
And then and then American Airlines came. I'm like, great, it's in Fort Worth,
Mm-hmm.
not far from home. The headquarters is in Fort Worth, so I would likely be flying back home on some trip, So
Yeah.
it's like it's like I never left. And because it wasn't a paid training, they did offer us hotel and hotel accommodations and also food accommodations.
Good.
So you want to make sure you're able to like find some kind of way to like look get what you want out of this. If they're not going to pay, we're already going to pay for your food and pay for a place for you to stay. You know, some places do, and some places don't.
Yeah.
But it is a process, and the journey can be kind of hard and a long road. But like that journey is what's going to mold you and build you to who you are.
Absolutely.
And you'll meet so many different people too along the way, and those instructors that are there, they're bigger mentors as well. So if anyone is looking to, move into the lines of that, please let me know. If you want to give them my information, that's great as well. I
I'll
love
put
to
it
see
in there.
yeah, I love to see more people, especially more
Mm-hmm.
more people of color to join this industry, and especially they need more pilots who are women,
Yeah.
color, and people of color. So if your dream is to fly, it may not to be a flight attendant, go to try to become a pilot. You have to get your hours, of course, but there are actual places where you can get your pilot's license and you can use that to get into any other airline. Or if you want to fly private, you do private. So this industry definitely gives you more more gateways to other kind of things.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I like about it.
What would you say is the greatest benefit though from
Mhm.
being this industry?
I feel like the greatest benefit is just being able to, of course, to like connect with people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I usually like to fly the business route, which
Okay.
are for sure DC, Chicago, Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
and like Boston. Like those are like the business routes. That's what I would call it. And so I get to interact with people who are like either entrepreneurs or people who are CEOs of a company, or someone who's like a vice president. I get to interact with these kind of people, and then just being around them, working in first class, like it just
Mm-hmm.
kind of like gives me this like reassurance that I can do anything there is. If I ever do want to step out and actually create my own business, then I can
Mm-hmm.
do it. It is attainable.
You definitely
So
can do it.
you definitely can do it. I know I hear it can be tough, but as long as you have your support system and you do what you love, like that's all you need.
Yep. And you know your
Yeah.
why. You know your why,
You
you'll
know
be
your
all right.
why.
You got to know your
Yes,
why
that's
though.
right. That's true.
For real.
That is true.
A lot of
Yeah.
people
Okay.
don't know about this field. They're like, "What? I could be a flight attendant and get to do all of this?" I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, American
Yeah. I
Airlines is a great
mean,
company to work for."
it is. And like, it's some people, I can't lie, even the first year of becoming a flight attendant, I was just kind of like, this is what I'm gonna be doing. Like, is this what I want to do? Because of course you're gonna be gone all the time. That's if you choose to.
Hmm.
You can create your schedule a little bit. It's not a 9 to 5, which is so great.
Hmm.
Um, you know, and it's the customer service is a little bit different probably than what you're used to if you probably worked in retail, but it's
Hmm.
pretty much still like the same a little bit. But the first year I was just kind of like, is this what I really want to do? Like, I'll give it a chance, whatever. And then after maybe 6 months, I was just like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And then I got to do more of the special assignments
Mhm.
And, you know, I feel like, because some people are like, well, you just fly all the time. Like, yeah, but there are other opportunities within the airline industry. You don't have to always fly.
Yeah.
Because some people, they also do special assignments as far as like working in the office in the headquarters in Dallas or wherever
Mhm.
they're based. Some people do special assignments in other states or other countries. Like some people um, do a special assignment for marketing and advertisement for the companies. You
Mhm.
know, whatever they use as far as like advertisement on their website or on commercials, those are usually people who work for the airline industry, whether
Yeah.
they're pilots, flight attendants, mechanics, someone in the corporate office or whatever. Like those are people that actually work in the job, and so you know it. So doing that kind of stuff kind of gets you away from flying, so you're kind of like not too bored. 'Cause I mean, technically flying, like being a flight attendant, is sometimes it's not the same. Like every day is different.
Yeah.
So, but doing those special assignments can definitely get out of that funk where you're kind of like, oh, I don't want to fly, you know.
Yeah.
So
It's good to know that you
yeah,
have that option. I know a lot of people who work on the administrative
hmm
side for American
yeah,
Airlines. So
oh
like
yeah,
it's like a whole
mhm.
family. Like they all work for
Yes.
American Airlines. And
They all work, the whole family.
yes, the uncle,
Oh,
dad, the daughters, they all work
they all
for
work.
American, and like some of their
Hmm.
offices is like right down the hallway from each other. It's funny. It's like how y'all all get in here? But it's pretty dope that they all get to work together. They all work together pretty much. Some of their offices are
Hmm.
like a few doors
Yeah,
down, which is amazing.
yeah,
Like the whole
yeah,
family works there, and they go on a million
yeah.
trips a year. So
Yeah, they do. They do. And you get that added benefit of actually flying for free. And then even your spouse and your kids, or well, depends on who is on the list, but you know, it's really rewarding. So
yeah,
I hope to, you know, inspire others who want to like come into this like field or something else that's similar to this. Yeah.
yeah. Well, this definitely will spark that curiosity for them, and you did exactly what I wanted you to do. Talk about the whole thing, and I
Yay.
feel like it'll make people want to like look into
Oh,
it,
well,
even if
thank
they're
you.
older. Like,
Yeah.
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 So,
Yeah, because I actually had someone in my class who was like in my training class, there's like 60 of us. She was like 45.
hmm
So, I mean, some people start early, some people start late. It doesn't matter, you
hmm
know. There's still flight attendants who've been flying for at least 50 years.
wow. Ooh.
I know. Would that be me? No. But it is a job that does not discriminate with age for sure.
That's great.
So yeah.
That's good. I love
So
that.
yeah,
You don't need
yeah,
nobody to get you flued out because you can fly yourself out. So,
pretty much, pretty much, yeah. And so I mean, there's so much you can talk about with this kind of career, and you make pretty good money too.
hmm
So it's just never the same every day, and that's what I like about it. You know,
oh,
so.
one more thing I wanted to ask you. When you say you get
Mhm.
based in New York, do they help
Mhm.
you with finding a place, or do you have to just do
Yeah.
all of that on your own?
So what it is in training, when you're going through your classwork, you pick your base. They give you
hmm
a whole list of bases. The bases are, of course, DFW, Miami, LA, Boston, DC, Phoenix, Charlotte, Philly, Chicago, um,
All the
and
big
I
places.
think, yeah, all the big places. So you pick your base, you rank them between 1 to 10 or however many, you know, you put the one you really want to go as your highest, of course. And so what I did was put New York as my first choice. I
hmm
had I have I had a first cousin on my dad's side. She lived in New York City. And so I was like, oh, great. I know someone already out there. And so then my second choice was VFW. So if I
hmm
can't get to New York, at least put me where I am at home.
Yeah.
And so they gave me my first choice. But as far as like moving there, they don't really give you like a moving expense to move to your base. They do compensate for your like in doc. So like your orientation days, they do
Hmm.
compensate you for that. But as far as living expenses on your right out of training, they don't really do. However, if currently right now, I was pretty much furloughed. So I was one of the flight attendants that was furloughed in October. And
Hmm.
so because the government passed the PSP second time, um, and that include airline industries, and so American was able to recall those 8,000 flight attendants back, and bring them back on payroll.
Good.
And so this is like another aspect of being in the airline industry. However, I will say I've been very fortunate because even though I was furloughed, because we have a union and we have a contract, I didn't really have to, from my perspective, like um, money wasn't really an issue. I knew I could apply for unemployment, but we do get furlough pay.
Yeah.
So I was able to, be off of out of work from October, November, December with my furlough pay, that kind of stuff, and get through, pay my rent, pay my utilities. And
Hmm.
then I did also apply for unemployment, that kind of stuff. So I feel like this pandemic really hit some people really hard, but I'm very fortunate because I don't really have to actually go out and find a job because I
Yeah.
was still getting paid while I was gone.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's also like, what do you call it? Like, um, oh, what's the word? It's like, um, not an incentive, but it's like because I'm furloughed, like I don't have to worry about finding a job right away. I don't know what you call it. I forgot the word. I can't get it to my mind right now, but whatever.
It's
But
okay.
yeah, it was just I was just very fortunate. So of course, when the economy is hit, sometimes the airline industry will get hit hard too. But
Yeah.
and so with that, now they recalled everybody back to work. You have to put in your bases again, your base request. And so
Hmm.
they say, tell us the base that you want to go to. If you want to stay in the same base, you can do that. But if you want to move to another base, that's fine. But they said that, if you put down your initial base, so say for instance, um, I want to stay in my base in New York City, but they were not allowed to give me that award because of just staffing in some bases. They need more people somewhere else versus here.
Hmm.
Then they will pay your moving expenses. They'll help you out.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes
So it
sense.
depends. It depends on the situation, but they definitely will do in this situation for sure.
That makes perfect sense.
And I mean, there's so many other questions. I mean, there's so many more things about this industry and this career. So if anyone has any questions and I did not cover, please let me know and I can talk to them privately or whatever.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much. Do you believe your purpose is a journey or a destination?
I feel like it's more of a journey because, like I said earlier, like it's you're gonna like on your path to whatever it is that you want to attain in your life. There's going to be so many different gateways to probably get to it, or there's going to be so many different people coming along the way. Uh,
Hmm.
for me, I feel like that just really mold more of like my character, like who I am. It showed, the skills that I acquire and the skills that I probably need to acquire more. It
Hmm.
kind of like gets me to a place where, I know who I am. I know my downfalls. I know my strengths. That kind of stuff. And I just feel like this journey will never end. And I love that.
Yeah.
Like, I just love that. Like, I just know this journey is just going to keep going and going and going and going. And
Yes.
that's what I look forward to because I don't want it to be a destination. I feel like if it's a destination, then what else do I need to do? Like,
Exactly.
it's like an end zone, like I want to be able to like just feel that like that that I don't know, that feeling of like I'm going and I'm going and I'm going and like nothing's gonna stop me and I have support along the way and I'm happy.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
That's
That's
all that
right.
matters.
That's
And
all that matters.
and my last question is, if you knew then what you know now, would you change anything?
Oh, if I knew then what I know now, would I change anything? I mean, I feel like with God being, someone who is like the head of like my life, I put him first. I feel like, the mistakes that I made in the past in my 20s, it for sure led me to who I am in my 30s. So I'm kind of like, you know, I accept any, roadblock or like just anything as far as like something that kind of just puts me off my game or puts me off my road. I
Hmm.
just look at it as far as like, this is what built me to be who I am.
Yeah.
Of course, I wish I didn't make those mistakes in the past or whatever it is, but, it's just, that's life. You
Yeah.
have to look at your mistakes and, figure out how you can overcome those mistakes and not make them again. And so, yeah,
Well, with acknowledging God first, you're gonna always be in a position to elevate. So,
that's
um,
right.
I
Keep
am
him,
so
keep him,
keep them first.
keep him first. That's right.
Yes. Well, I'm so proud of you, Chloe. I'm so excited for you
Oh,
because I
thank you.
know.
I'm so proud for you too. You're doing a good job with this.
Thank you so much. I was like,
Yeah.
Chloe is definitely going to go on and do even more amazing things, and I'm proud of you for doing what you
Oh,
want to do for yourself. So, thank
oh,
you.
thank you. Thank you for having me on here too. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all.